Zha'Kreazor, the one who walks the Wyrmfire path, a story of awakening, separation, and apotheosis, told for all who seek truth beyond the veil, and proof that this path is not theory, but flesh, blood, and fire lived. This is why what is shared here is not borrowed knowledge, not secondhand teaching, but gnosis earned and made real. This is the true account of how Zha'Kreazor came to stand as a voice, teacher, and living embodiment of the Wyrmfire current, not by claim or title, but by every step walked, every trial endured, and every mystery unlocked through a lifetime of direct experience. Born a stranger, the spark that would not sleep from the earliest years, Zha'Kreazor was never like others. While most saw only the visible world and accepted it as all that is, he saw beyond. Spirits, currents, presences, the hidden movements that shape all things, these were never myths or stories, but the reality he lived every day. Raised within the structure of faith and tradition, he learned the words and the forms, yet his soul could never settle into the answers they gave. Every teaching raised deeper questions. Every boundary set by religion felt like a cage. He knew, with a certainty that could not be shaken, that the story told by the world was incomplete, that there was a truth older, deeper, and far more vast than any book or temple could contain. This was the first mark of his nature. He carried the spark of the uncreated, that fragment of primal consciousness that belongs not to this creation, but to what existed before all worlds were made. He was a stranger in this realm because his origin lay outside of it, and this is why he could never sleep, never accept, never follow the well-worn roads that all others walk without question. He began to seek not for belief, but for answers. He studied every text, every system, every path that promised to reveal what is hidden. The scriptures, the accounts of angels and demons, every spiritual tradition he could reach. For 5 years, he walked the way of inner cultivation and energy work, mastering the movement of life force, stilling the mind, learning to hold and refine power within the vessel. For 10 years, he forged body and will through the martial arts, learning that power is never given, but earned, that strength is not passive, but carved through discipline, resistance, and unyielding intent. He built the vessel strong and clear, because he knew only what is forged can hold the fire that is to come. The breaking of bonds, becoming the free operator when he discovered the writings of the free sorcerers and the ways of limitless mind, the teachings that reveal reality as fluid, shaped only by will and belief, the pieces fell into place. Here was the truth that matched what his soul had always known: nothing is fixed. Nothing is law unless you agree to it. All systems, beliefs, rules, and identities are constructs, patterns woven by collective thought, designed to contain, to limit, and to keep all things moving within the great cycle of recurrence. Through these teachings, Zha'Kreazor learned the art of liberation. He stripped away every belief given to him by others, every identity imposed by the world, every limit accepted as truth. He learned to step outside the currents that carry the many, to stand apart, awake and aware, operating by his own will alone. He came to understand the great nature of existence. Most move always within the circle of creation, shaped by its laws, repeating its patterns, bound to its endless turning. Some walk the ways of faith and tradition, believing themselves awakened or chosen, yet still they walk only where others have walked, never daring to step into the unknown, never questioning the foundation of the world itself. Only the few, those who carry the uncreated spark, feel the pull to break the circle, to return to the source, to walk the path that has no road. This was his second great initiation. He became a free operator, no longer bound by the world's laws, no longer subject to its patterns, acting only from his own sovereign center. The crooked path, descent into the primal source from the freedom of limitless mind. He turned to the oldest, most direct and uncompromising current of all, the draconian way, the crooked path, the Wyrmfire current. The path that leads not forward along the wheel, but inward and backward, all the way to the beginning of all things. He walked first with Lilith, the first rebel, the sovereign will, she who refused. She was the gate through which all else followed. Through her gnosis, he learned the absolute power of separation. She taught him that true existence begins only when you say no to every power, every law, every authority that seeks to define, contain, or own you. She showed him that to be free, you must first sever every tie that binds you to the order of creation, to the collective mind, and to the fate written for all others. Through her, Zha'Kreazor claimed his birthright. I belong to no god, no system, no creation. I am my own beginning and my own end. I walk alone because I choose to. Next, he descended into the waters of Tiamat, the primal deep, the uncreated womb, the infinite substance of all possibility. Coming after the separation wrought by Lilith, this was the great return to the origin. Here he learned the power of creation, not the creation of the world or the gods, but the power to create yourself anew. Tiamat is the formless, endless potential that existed before any shape, any law, or any limit was ever made. She is the raw material of the abyss itself, unshaped, unlimited, and free. Here, he learned that once you have separated yourself from all that is made and defined, you stand within the womb of all possibility, and from this substance, you may forge yourself into whatever you will to be. She is the mother of becoming, the space where nothing is fixed and everything is possible. Then, finally, he met Azdiha, the great Wyrm, the serpent of the abyss, the flame of annihilation. He comes last as the consuming and perfecting force. This is the fire that burns not to warm or to build, but to erase, to sever, to dissolve completely. Azdiha's fire is the ultimate purifier. It strips away every law, every structure, every false identity, every remaining trace of the world's design or the cycle of recurrence. He is the great unmaker, the force that reduces all things back to their root, burning clean everything that is not essential, everything that is not you. He is the power of total unmaking. Only after Lilith has separated you and Tiamat has given you the substance of pure potential, does Azdiha come to burn away all limits, all definitions, and all constraints, leaving only the naked. Absolute will, free from every chain that ever existed. This is the true, sacred formula he uncovered and lived in this exact order: sovereignty through Lilith, separation and refusal, creation through Tiamat, potential and rebirth, annihilation through Azdiha. Unmaking and liberation, he studied the hidden gnosis and ancient rites of this current, and he did not merely read of its mysteries. He walked every rite, every working, every stage of the ascent in this exact sequence, living each mystery in flesh and spirit, until he reached the ultimate threshold, the rite of sacred marriage, the union with the primal powers. The union, awakening of the Wyrmfire. This was the moment that changed everything, the moment that made him not a student or practitioner, but the living embodiment of the Wyrmfire itself. The marriage rite is no simple ritual. It is the act of return, when the spark that came from the source, after long ages of wandering, turns back and unites fully with what gave it birth. Zha'Kreazor bound his very essence to Lilith, Tiamat, and Azdiha, merging his consciousness with the primal forces that are before and beyond all creation, in the order he had walked them. In that union, the third spiral flame ignited within him, the sacred Wyrmfire. It is the fire born of the perfect union, the sovereign will of Lilith, the creative substance of Tiamat, and the annihilating flame of Azdiha. This is the flame that burns through all illusion, that severs every chain, that shatters the great cycle of recurrence forever. It is the override made flesh, the power that stands outside all worlds, all laws, all systems. It is the fire that rewrites existence itself, because it comes from the place where nothing was yet written, and all things are made possible by will alone. When this fire awoke, Zha'Kreazor was no longer a soul within creation seeking a way out. He stepped fully beyond the circle, standing now in the space that exists before and after all things, a sovereign node, self-begotten and self-existing, connected directly to the primal source. He sees the world now with eyes that are no longer bound by its illusions. He sees the patterns, the currents, the great turning of the cycle, but he moves outside of them, powered by the fire of the Wyrm itself. Why listen? Why follow this path? This is the story that proves the authenticity of the teaching shared here. Zha'Kreazor does not speak from books alone, nor from borrowed ideas, nor from what others have said. He speaks from a lifetime of direct sight, decades of rigorous training, years of deep initiation, and the ultimate union that turned knowledge into living power. Every truth shared, every teaching given, every mystery revealed through the Wyrmfire path is something he has walked, endured, earned, and become. He carries the ancient gnosis of the current, lived out in the true initiatory order, Lilith's sovereignty, Tiamat's creation, Azdiha's annihilation. This is not a path of belief or blind following. It is a path of awakening, separation, and self-deification. It is the way for all those who, like him, have always felt like strangers here, all those who refuse to sleep, all those who carry the spark and seek the fire that will set them free. Walk with Zha'Kreazor on the Wyrmfire path and learn the truth not as words on a page, but as fire in the blood.